Hello, friends. Mark Heath here with Andy Warren to bring you news of a signing made last night. Last night, Town signed Dominic Thompson on loan from Brentford. A bit out of the blue. We're expecting them to make some improvements on the left-hand side, Andy, and they've done just that. Do you want to bring us up to speed with everything you know about Mr. Thompson and what you make of the signing?
Yep, I think that was the position we thought that was one that was being targeted by Ipswich. We know they've had their troubles there. Matt Penny's had a bit of a rocky road at the start of his Ipswich career. He's had some injuries as well. Hayden Coulson we haven't seen since the start of November now. So it was a position that we thought would be strengthened, and it has done. Left sider Dominic Thompson is 21. He's an Arsenal Academy graduate. He's a Brentford player. Made his Premier League debut for them. I think it was Boxing Day, and then started again against Manchester City just before Christmas. So some very recent Premier League experience for him. But he is a left back who can play a little bit of midfield. So I'm intrigued by this one because there are a few different things he can cover, and I think they've just signed a good football player here who can fill in a position that they need, while also give some cover in some positions that they also need. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this one plays out.
And we've already seen him, haven't we, at Portman Road last year, playing for Swindon, and very impressive he was too.
Yeah, he was very, very good that day. I was looking back on once he'd signed it, it jogged my memory about just how good he was that day. It looked back at some of the things Stuart and I wrote that day. We were very impressed. That was his Swindon debut. He joined them on loan last January. Swindon won 3-2 that day, and he had a hand in all three goals. A really good cross for the first one. I think it was Jai Simi scored that first one. Then he laid the ball off. It was an assist. He laid the ball off for Scott Twine to score that ridiculous 35-yard strike. It was a quite simple little pass. I'm not sure that one needs to be an assist. And then he was involved in kind of the build-up play that led to the third and ultimately winning goal for Swindon that day. So very, very impressive. I think that ultimately proved to be the highlight of his time at Swindon. From everything I've read and spoken to people who watched Swindon a lot during that period, he wasn't necessarily helped by the style of play, the coaching, and the management of John Sheridan at that point. Not necessarily allowed to show those attributes on too many more occasions, but there was a feeling that he was certainly a solid defender, but it didn't quite hit those attacking heights again. But that's what loans are for. They're learning experiences, and I'm sure he took plenty from that.
And in terms of the quotes that we always get when these things are announced, reading them last night, it seems that he's another player who's been very impressed with what Kieran McKenna's said to him, and he wants to be part of the project that McKenna's putting together here.
Yep, that's coming out from everyone. I think that they've been speaking to him for a few weeks by the sounds of things, and clearly very impressed. Brentford clearly are impressed enough by Ipswich to want to place a player of theirs here. And I'm sure McKenna will know him very well from the youth football side of things. He came through the academy at Arsenal alongside some really big names: Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Joe Willock. So he came through the age groups with them. They're all very close friends by the sounds of things. So I'm sure Kieran McKenna has known him long before sort of the last few weeks. So very intrigued to see how he's used from this point.
And on that note, in terms of how he's going to be used, clearly McKenna at the moment is using wing backs. We know Kane Vincent-Young can't play at Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. Can you see Thompson going straight into the side in that position? And how do you think he suits that position?
Yeah, I can. Building up to this game, I think Matt Penny and Hayden Coulson have both trained. Coulson's been out since the start of November and has been back to Middlesbrough for treatment. So I'd be amazed if he suddenly jumps straight in. Penny's a tough one. They may go with him straight off the bat and give Thompson a sort of a lighter involvement, but I can see them putting him straight in. I don't think he's going to be quite the counterbalance to Wes Burns in terms of attacking on that left side. I think Burns is a bit of a special case in the right wing back wing role and how comfortable he is in that. But he could give some left-footed balance. He likes defending one-on-one. But I also think, while I think that will probably be his primary position, I'm sure in a 3-4-3, I think he looks like the kind of player to me that could play the left-sided centre-back role if needed. we've talked about that, and the cover to Donassi and Wolfenden and Edmondson only being Cameron Burgess. Burgess would be more suited to playing in the middle of that. Whereas if needed, I could see Thompson maybe filling in that left-sided centre-back role, because he's a defender. He can play there, and he started as a midfielder as well. So maybe some cover there. So I think he's a player that could fill in a few holes, but primarily we're talking left side.
A note too to the creativity of Ipswich Town admin last night in terms of announcing the signing. A series of questions were posed on Twitter. I had them signing a fly half called Dick Watson. So I was a little bit off, but I enjoyed that.
You need to know your rugby positions. 15 is not a fly half.
Okay, Andy. So obviously that's now 4 in technically, I suppose. You say obviously Bon is here to the end of the season. They've signed Walton permanently. They've got Tariq Backington in midfield, and now they've got Dominic Thompson. So 4 in this window. Is that it? Do you reckon now for incomings? Are we going to be more looking at outgoings now as we move towards the deadline on Monday?
I think more so at outgoing. So given the rate at which signings have been made since the summer at Ipswich, I wouldn't rule anything out between now and 11 o'clock on Monday. But if he, as we're kind of suggesting here, if Thompson can fill in multiple positions, I think that alleviates the need to sign cover at centre half. I might be completely wildly out the ballpark here and be wrong, but he looks like he can play that role to me. So that would mean you don't need that. They're carrying a big squad at the moment. We talked about striker incomings, but from everything that Kieran McKenna's saying about Caden Jackson and Joe Pigott, he's very happy with his striking options, and will happily carry those between now and the end of the season. So never say never, but for me, it feels like this might be it for them.
For incomings and outgoings, or just incomings?
For incomings, there's outgoings. I'm sure one or both of Idris El Mazouni and Raheem Harper will move out on loan now. There are offers in for both, and they're just weighing up whether they're ones they want to take. What happens to Hayden Coulson from here, I don't know. He's back training again, so you'd hope that they would at least, give him the chance to get back on the field again. But we've seen throughout his time that injuries have been a problem. So I'm sure there will be outgoings, but in terms of incomings, I wouldn't expect a whole lot else. But I'm absolutely not gonna rule that out.
Okay, there you go. Well, what we know for sure, of course, is that Dominic Thompson is an Ipswich Town player now until the end of the season. We will see if he makes his debut at Hillsborough tomorrow. That's it for now, and we'll catch you again in the next video.